morning, Sunrise family. Happy Sunday. So excited to see all of you coming in. Happy 2026. Hopefully, we are flowing and using our tools that we learn week after week after week. So grateful for you all being here this morning. I am not Kelli Lawson. I am Dr. Vicki Johnson, and I'm sitting in for Kelli today to host my dear sister and friend in this powerful conversation. So, welcome to our weekly SonRise Project call. We are happy that each of you are here to find a moment of solace and peace as we share and learn from one another in a safe space that's filled with love, compassion, and mutual desire to heal our children, our families, and ourselves. As we do each week, we're going to open with the serenity prayer, which I love, which says, God grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And so it is. I certainly want to welcome you again. I want to honor our founder and visionary, Kelli Lawson, who is with us in the room today. She is a part of the community listening today to our executive director, Dr. D. Sapp, who week after week is also sitting here holding space and helping us facilitate these powerful conversations week after week. And so without any further delay, I want to introduce our guest today is Tajala Battle-Lockhart, an educator, advisor, multi-best-selling author, licensed realtor, and multiple awards recipient whose journey reflects resilience, faith, and purposeful reinvention. With over 2 decades of experience across education, hospitality, nonprofit leadership, and real estate, she has earned respect for her ability to guide others through transitional seasons with clarity, excellence, compassion, and I'm going to add boldness. Professionally, she serves as a college and career advisor and adjunct professor and certified hospitality educator, helping students and families navigate the critical years that shape their future. She is a licensed realtor, supporting individuals and families as they pursue home ownership, legacy building, and long-term stability. She values that she considers vital to generational stewardship. I love that term, generational stewardship. As the founder and CEO of Taj Consulting and Events and the visionary behind Phenomenal Young Women, Inc., she has built pathways for young people to step into adulthood with readiness, confidence, and character. Her programs emphasize accountability, emotional intelligence, excellence and conduct, and alignment between goals and preparation. Her voice reaches beyond classrooms and boardrooms as a sought-after speaker. She shares with honesty, depth, and reverence for the traditions and foundations that shape us. She often addresses seasons of transition, the importance of releasing what no longer serves us, and the spiritual discipline of rebuilding life with intention and faith. At her core, Tajala believes every sunrise is evidence that God still honors purpose, still writes new stories, and still calls us forward one faithful step at a time. And she's our guest sitting in not the hot seat, but the seat of wisdom and transparency and testimony today because she's also a mom of a young adult daughter and has had experiences, as have all of us who are accomplished, and likewise making dinosaur imprints in the earth and still have to come home and be parents, be mothers, be fathers. And so today, Taj, we welcome you. My sister, my friend, we're birthday twins almost 2 days apart. And I want to say welcome to the SonRise Project today. We are so happy to have you here.
Oh wow, thank you so much. I sound pretty decent about the way you tell it. Oh,
What was it? I ask this question often, but what did that feel like listening to your accomplishments reflected back to you? Because before we get into the conversation today about parenting from a healed place versus a broken and painful place, I want to dive a little bit into who you are as a woman. How do you show up in the world? We hear, and I just read your bio, but what was that like listening to it reflected back to you?
I'm always gonna be honest with you. It really was. It felt actually good for a change, and I will say because of my new journey that I'm on, now life after divorce, right? So before I've ever have heard that before, I was like, I didn't feel good listening to it because I was so busy being all those things that you were saying earlier.
Mhm.
I just did them because it's just in my heart to do it. But since I've been on this journey of, healing in so many different areas of my life, to hear it now, oh my gosh, it's like, ooh, now I can hear it and receive it the way I need to. So I enjoy it. It sounds like the person that I want to be.
And
And apparently I've always been that person. I just haven't heard it that way before.
we do listen with a different ear when we
Yeah,
are
we did.
healed versus when we are broken. Let me just add some context to the conversation today, which I think is really powerful. It says, what does it take to shatter generational patterns and build unbreakable bonds with your children? The weight of perfect parenting can awaken deep-seated fears, unresolved wounds, and the exhaustion of survival mode. But what if you could parent from a place of freedom rather than fear? It's about shifting from being reactive to responsive, from pain to being present, and from projection to empowerment. By doing the inner work, we create a safe haven for our children to thrive and to find their own paths to wholeness. And I just wanted to set that framework for our conversation today because, as you and I have spoken multiple times, we both have young adult daughters, and that's an experience as well. But where did you have to come from, Tajala, to get to here? And I think it's important for us to share in this community with each other our journeys so that we know that we're not the only one, that we're not alone, and that we are all in this place of being refined, right? And remembering how amazing we are. So you mentioned that it's life after divorce. What else were you dealing with while parenting?
What wasn't I dealing with is the question.
Share
Um,
with us.
I come from my mom was a single mom, so I lived, that life. But I lived back and forth. I couldn't decide because I wanted to be in both my worlds, my mom sometimes and my grandmother. I grew up in the projects, didn't have much food stamps, all the things, But in that day and time, I didn't know it was a thing to be, embarrassed about. We had love, they took care of us, we were family, we were the village. So I grew up in the village. However, I grew up separately, struggling because I wanted to be with my mom, and my mom was here in the DMV area. My grandma lived in North Carolina, so I kept going back and forth. Never knew my dad. Well, I will correct that a little bit. I was told this man was my dad, and I only found out a couple when I got pregnant with my daughter that that man that I always thought was my dad, even though he wasn't in my life, was not my dad. My mom, unfortunately, I watched her deal drugs. I mean, not deal drugs, but take drugs. She was, her and her girlfriends, because as you know, single moms, they have to carry us on their hip everywhere, everywhere they go. And my grandma, was my my idol, is I guess what we would call it back in the day. So I lived most of my life with my grandma, and in my grandma's house, I grew up. We had a girls' room and a boys' room because all me and all my cousins, we grew up together. So that's kind of my journey, and I end up decided, I always knew because I admired my mom for being away from home so long, and I always knew I wanted to leave North Carolina. And I wanted to explore the world, whatever that looked like. I just wanted to be away from that. And so I decided to start stepping out on my own once I graduated from high school. Because my mom finally moved back to North Carolina to become a hairstylist. So I ended up living with her in Raleigh, North Carolina. And and then life started, and I became graduated from high school. I take my first leap out on faith and move away from home, which that was just to Charlotte, from Raleigh to Charlotte. I thought that was a big move, and then from there to Atlanta. And then from Atlanta, I ended up here. Atlanta, I met my ex-husband now, unfortunately. And he got a job here in the DC area. And I have been in DC for now, the Maryland DMV area for 25 years now. Go through the journey of marriage. Had my daughter 2006. Fast forward. I mean, before that, we lost our very first child, Taylor Joy. And then my baby girl Chelsea came in 2006. Quite a journey. And, it's too long to tell. We'd be here all day long if I told the whole story. But it was a journey of so much trauma, wanting and needing so many things. I've lost all my family members, with the older family members. My uncle, I meant the world to me. All my uncles, unfortunately, were alcoholics. I grew up around alcoholics. So I have a thing about that. Unfortunately, it ended up in my household as well. So I always told myself I'm not gonna deal with the things that I dealt with my mom. All her boyfriends were abusers. That's what I grew up around. Drugs, I grew up around that. So I said everything I saw I wasn't gonna do, I ran dead smack into it.
Let me hold on right there. Let me interject. I want to ask you something. So
Hmm.
I get that on so
Hmm.
many levels. It
Hmm.
resonates with me on so
Hmm.
many levels.
Hmm.
I want to ask because you talked about your origin story per se,
Hmm.
growing up with your grandmother and your mother not being around and then eventually you coming into relationship with her, leaving, getting married, losing a child. Sincere condolences to you. Experienced that too. And now having your daughter. How did the way you grew up and the trauma you were living shape the way you intended to parent your daughter? Right? Because that's a lot. And I know
Hmm.
that's just a snapshot of what you shared.
Yeah.
And how did that shape the way you mothered your daughter, even in the midst of all the things happening in your life, in your home, in your world? Because here, we're all about supportive parenting, helping one another through our stories. And so, how did that shape the way you parented your daughter?
Um, what I thought was the right way at the time.
Okay.
Is doing all the things that my mom didn't do for me.
Mhm.
So I ended up being the soccer coach, the cheerleading coach. Being the big protector, like, because
Mhm.
nobody protected me. So my goal was to make sure I protected her from all the things that happened to me. So
Mhm.
what I learned, fast forward a little bit, my daughter taught me the word projection. She was like, you're projecting a lot of things on me. Fast forward to now as she's a teenager. But my goal was just to protect and give her all the things that I've never had. So that's how it shaped me, whether the shaping was the right way or the wrong way. I felt that, it was the way at the time. So that's what it did for me. So I wanted to give her the mom and dad I never had, give her the house I never had, give her, the opportunities to show up at the recitals and all the things, that my mom was not able to do as a single mom, like all the things I yearned for. So we always do. I mean, I'm not the only one I know that always
No, I
wanted to
raise
do
my hand.
things.
You're not.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that's how it pretty much shaped me, as a parent. Like I said, I'm on this side of I guess we'll talk about on this side of the world. I'm learning that wasn't always the right way to do it.
Yeah, did that also shape your passion for working with young people? Because you now impact and affect high school students, and students preparing to go out into the world. So it also, I'm assuming, and correct me if I'm wrong, shaped your professional career in this world of education, um, and career
As
readiness where you served.
someone from Selma
So,
and Selma and Selma.
um, Miss
Or no, she lives in
Adrian, can
Montgomery
you
now.
mute? Can you mute? Thank you. Um, so how did it shape the way you work with young people as well? You
Um,
do great work there.
oh, thank you. My passion behind that is me just growing up in the projects, not having um and wanting and knowing that my community could have more, and understand how we could get more. And that was one of the biggest reasons why I wanted to leave the project. Biggest reasons why I wanted to leave North Carolina, because I knew there was more. I just didn't know what it looked like, and I didn't know how to go get it, but I was going to figure it out. And I figured I would be the one to show my people that went through what I went through or continues to go, because there's a cycle, right? That we just seem to not be able to get out of. And that has always been my reason. And my other reason is because we as adults, we make a choice to have kids. No matter if, how we got to that point, we still have to choose to have them. And they didn't ask to be here. So I remind myself that on a daily basis, and I tell parents on a daily basis, like, this was your choice. So now we have to do our work and our due diligence to ensure that we provide them what they need to survive in this new world that we live in. So yes, I'm very passionate to making sure, because it's easy. I hear it all the time. I see it all the time. People walk away from kids every day, all day, in the school system, in the community, because it's just too much. And my mindset, even when before I just started thinking about running for office, I was elected official for a 4-year term. And I was sitting at the table, and I'm sitting at the table with a lot of adults. We're complaining about things, and I'm like, okay, we got to stop it. And I keep hearing people walking away, walking away, and trauma. That's trauma for me, walking away from kids, whether it's me or not. I'm hearing this. So what can I do instead of complaining? Let's get up and do something. So I decided to do it that in that way first. I substituted in the school system to hear and see what the challenges were. Then I ran my campaign. I won my campaign. Fast forward, my girlfriend that I work with in the hospitality industry, she got her dream job at Prince George's Community College. Asked me, have I ever thought about teaching? I said, no, please don't ask me that. And I did it anyway. And I've been doing it for almost 14 years now. I love what I do because I think it's required, of us as adults and people to pour back into our people. And that's what drives me every day. There's been times I wanted to walk away, but I said I can't, because a kid will ask me every day, "Are you going to be here next year when I graduate?" So that's what encourages me every day to come back.
So let me ask this question. So, as so many of us here in this community, we show up really powerfully in the world, publicly, outward facing, right? Helping others, impacting others, leaving life-changing, transforming impressions on other people while having to come back to our private lives and worlds that are difficult and challenging. And this is where we get into the crux of what we want to chat about today. What was that like? Pouring oil into the lives of all these other young people and then having to come back home and parent your daughter from a difficult place and a difficult situation. And then your mom passed away, right? So add to that grief. What was that like, Tajala? And after you answer, I have another question to follow that up.
Mm, wow. Um, it's been years and I still can't come up with words of what it was like. It was the heaviest of all, you
Mhm.
know. Um, but I knew the one thing that kept me going, I had to push through, is my daughter. Somebody's watching me.
Yeah.
I have to figure this thing out. And when I go behind closed doors, as she got older, we would have conversations, and I said, I apologize to her at all times. I know this is not what it looks like, but mommy is gonna make sure that she's gonna do her best to make it different. Whatever it looks like. I didn't know what it looked like, but I wanted to reassure her. that this is not what it is, but this is what, I'm going to try my best to show you that I can show you something different. I didn't know when it was going to happen, how long it was going to take, whatever it's going to take, but it was heavy. It was heavy on top of the part that the people that has never been a leader before, especially in those elected official positions, is when people coming at you publicly all day long and they don't even realize. There's a group on Facebook. I'm gonna be real transparent. There's a group on Facebook that's supposed to be for moms, right? And I'm still a mom, although I'm an elected official. And I thought the group was for moms to support each other. So I go in the group and make, have a live, and I'm sharing and I break down because I see all of these kids commit suicide and all the things. And I'm still a human as well. So I get emotional. And these moms came and bashed me as if I was not. It's like when you become a leader that you lose your human titles. So they came at me, and that was the most hurtful thing in the world. So when I felt that, it came at me in ways that I never imagined. So it allowed me to have to I already had a wall, right? My wall was so solid that I had now not only I have to protect me, I got to protect me and my daughter, because we already had our wall for my daughter, but I had to find a wall for myself. And at some point in time, we try our best to build walls, but sometimes you can't build a wall tall enough for that type of stuff.
Yeah, so dealing with that, dealing with grief, life after divorce, my question is what is some of the internal work that
Oh
you
wow.
had to do to shift from parenting from a place of pain to one of power and healing? What was that moment, if you can remember? And what are some of the steps that you took? Because sometimes when we are drowning in the sorrow of circumstances, I want to say, um, we can't see the light. We don't know where to start, which is why I love what we do here at the SonRise Project. And I'm eternally grateful for Kelli and Dr. D in this work because the tools we get, right? I have not heard this way outside of our powerful community. So I just want to say thank you to them and to every parent that shows up every week on this call. What is some of the internal work you had to do to pivot? What was
I just
that?
want
Can
to,
you share that?
yeah, I'm gonna share that, but I want to piggyback on what you just said. That's the reason why I come to this community. I'm very intentional about communities that I choose to be a part of, and that's why I'm here. Because it has blessed my whole soul in so many ways on this journey that you're asking me about. So what I did, and what the one thing that my reality is, when I moved into my apartment, here, this is where I am, 4 years ago, and it was quiet, and I decided to start. I decided at that particular time, because now it's quiet, it's still, I can't hear things, and I'm trying to figure out what's going on here. I decided that I had to put it in order, and I believe it was Alicia Johnson that was here sometime a year or so ago, and said order is important. And ever since she said that, it triggered me. It was a part of my plan anyway, but it was confirmation that order is important. So I chose to. I always been a woman of faith, but I wanted to go deeper. Now that I have my quiet space, and decided to isolate. So I decided to go deeper in my faith. And then I decided to go deep on with my therapy. So grief, and then regular therapy with a therapist on a regular basis, because I had to get myself spiritually strong to receive what I hear in therapy. In therapy, and in grief, I learned that was a spiritual grief therapy session that I went through 12 weeks, and it taught me so much. It even taught me, introduced me to words like I've never even heard words or understood words. Something as simple as, like, we're talking about grief and loss. Is loss. We always say we lost our mom, we lost our dad, we lost somebody, and we didn't lose them. We know where they are. That's what I learned. I was like, oh, I was like, wow, that is true. So it's the difference between LOST and LOSS. So now like that journey, even just through the grief counseling, I learned words differently. And ever since then, I carry words. I listen to God downloads words and all those things. So I went through that process too. And then after I did the therapy, I went through a health journey as well because I have battled chronic hypertension after having Chelsea is my daughter's name, and preeclampsia afterwards. So I couldn't have any more kids or I would die. So I chronic hypertension, cholesterol, and pre-diabetes was knocking on the door, and I'm like, no, I can't do it. I have been dealing with several doctors, so I finally, God bless me, I noticed that God started moving because I was going deeper. I had to be intentional. I present and pay attention. Introduced me to a young lady at another group I was in that she was a remissions coach. Who knew? Um,
Never heard of that, but that's powerful.
yeah, uh-huh. And I will talk, I guess we'll talk about that in a little bit, how that remission came about. And she helped me 30 days because I'm one of those ones, once you teach me, I got it. So she worked with me for 30 days. I invested in my health, and it's been almost a year, and my numbers are down and I have no issues anymore as it relates to that. So you now I'm on the next phase of my journey is relaunching my businesses because I shut everything down after divorce. I stopped everything. So now I'm healthy enough spiritually, emotionally, physically. Now I can be healthy enough to launch and relaunch my businesses and do those in a healthy way. Because a lot of people don't understand is that you can't be your full self and your healthy self if you haven't done that work first. No business is going to survive with an unhealthy person.
Can I just say thank you? Because those are some very actionable steps.
Mm-hmm.
You stopped. You addressed your mental health, your emotional health, your physical health. You talked about going deeper, which I think is important, getting beyond the surface, being intentional. But I want to back up to the beginning and acknowledge something that you did not say, but that was necessary, is that you stopped and you told yourself the truth. And the truth is, I'm in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I just want to
It,
frame
yep.
that today because we are so successful, like I said, outward facing. When it comes to being healed and being on a healing journey, it is imperative that we tell ourselves the truth. Like the way I've been doing, the way I have been being is not working for me. And I just want to thank you for these are very practical steps that hopefully lands with someone today. And the first step is telling yourself the truth. I had a doctor's appointment yesterday, reached out to my doctor. I said, I need help. I need help. People come to me for help. And
Mm-hmm.
guess what? I need help. So
Mm-hmm.
I was with her the first part of the day yesterday,
Yeah.
right? Addressing some concerns that I have. And so just thank you for this because this is powerful to me. If you don't get anything else, I'm talking now to the community. It's imperative to tell ourselves the truth and go deeper. If you don't like what you have, then we got to do something different. We have to do something different. So thank you for that.
And then
Can
I
you?
just want to say one
Yeah.
thing, and it's we invest in women. It looks like we got mostly women on the screen, but we invest in a lot of things. But sometimes that's the one thing, we admire each other on the screen because we look pretty for the moment, right? And we misunderstand and we read things the wrong way, and we attach a value to something all the time. So it's time for us to rethink that as well. And yeah, you might look at the beautiful pictures or even just the people that are actually on the screen and say, "Ooh, she looks so good." But let's be clear, she just as broke as I was on the inside, I was broke in my pockets as well. So don't make an assumption because I can clean it up real good that I got all the money and all the things that can take care of the thing. So that's what journey the financial thinking journey is on what I'm on right now as well, but you guys have to invest. It took me 300 and something $50 a month just for that 1 month to invest in my health to be where I am today. And guess what? It didn't require a lot of work. It just you need to understand the strategy. It's 8 hours in your day for me. It's 8 hours in a day for me to eat the right way I'm supposed to eat just within 8 hours. And then the rest of the day, you just done, you fasting. And it corrected my health. So if you can do that with a pair of shoes, a purse, going out to drink every day, you need to invest in you. If you feeling like you overwhelmed and you're tired and you're doing too much and nobody's helping you, now it's time for you to help you, because that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, that intermittent fasting is a game changer. It
Whew,
it it truly is.
it's a
And
beast.
actually, my doctor said that yesterday.
It's
He
real. I've
said
been
that to
doing
me
it for months
yesterday.
now.
And so we just want to plant that seed. Come into agreement and plant that seed here in the community that that might just be the answer, or one of the answers or tools that you can use to become the best you. Tajala, I have another question for you. What is an
Sure.
example of joy or freedom that you've discovered in your relationship with your daughter that was only possible because you've been doing your inner work? What's a breakthrough that you can share so we can offer hope to parents on the call today who think, I blew it with mine? You know, that's good for you, but I'm stuck in my relationship with my child. I'm doing my work, but I don't see any fruit yet. Can you just speak to and share some examples of breakthroughs that you've had in relationship with your daughter? Like, what are some differences of parenting her from broke down Tajala, Mama Tajala, to
Mhm.
now on her healing journey, Tajala? What are some things that we can inspire other parents on the call today to look for?
Don't be afraid to be honest about what you're learning on your healing journey, especially through therapy, because that's what happened with me. One of my sessions, I mean, I have been going to sessions for a while and I'm listening and I enjoy my therapist, obviously, but I'm a visual type of person and I felt like I still wasn't getting what I needed. Trying to figure this thing out. Something's missing, something's missing. So she finally gave me a tool. And that tool was about feelings because that's what we have a challenge with more than anything else. So she told me she vocalized a tool and I turned it into a tool. So she basically said that, identify what the feelings are. And then the second column, you have to identify if the feelings are, do you have evidence that this feeling is true or no evidence that these feelings are true? That's the second column. And then the third column is, well, now what are you going to do with the information that you have? So I did the work first for myself. And then I just saw the difference of how I was applying it to myself. And I invited my daughter over and used the same tool that my therapist gave me and did it with my daughter. And I allowed her, I explained to her how the tool was. Do I make you feel? Because, of course, we're going through this divorce journey. She has something she feeling, but we just haven't had a chance to talk it through. And I'm just going to be honest with you guys. Somebody asked me on another podcast that I did is how were you able to help your daughter? I wasn't able to help my daughter. And I'm just going to be honest with y'all. I wasn't even able to do this until midway of last year is when I was able to pay attention to my daughter the way I needed to. So that's when I used this tool and I sat down and explained her the tool. Tell me how you feel about how I make you feel or how you felt about this journey, all the things. And we sat down and had that back and forth. So she told me how I made her feel about things. I told her how she made me feel about things. And when I tell you guys, my heart was so full because at the end of the conversation, she was like, that was so good. And to the point where she was dating a guy at the time. She was like, Mom, I need me and my friend want to come over and talk to you. And I was like, what's going on? I had no idea what she was talking. She said, I think he needs to hear what we just did because he has an issue with his parents. So it's just been a blessing. That tool right there, and now it has opened a door for dialogue like we've never had before. Like she would come tell me anything about what's going on in school, but as it relates to she and I, like now we go deep and we have conversations. It's not about, most teens always coming to you about money. She comes to me about deep conversations. Even now she's asking me about Bible. Like, what does this mean? What's the purpose? And how, like, we go deep and I love it. So that's been a blessing on my journey, that I took my tools that was given to me to apply it to my relationship with my daughter, and it has thrived our conversations and made her feel better. And she sees me different because she's shared with other people. That's not my mom I used to know.
Mm.
Mom is different. Yeah, mom is different. So she don't get to see the weight that I was carrying anymore. She sees it's lifting up off of me, and I'm so grateful. And I do it now, even now that I see it works with, because I'm always test and do things on my own people before I go give it to anybody else. So I use that same tool with my kids at school, and they have taken it home. A couple of them taken it home and tried it with their parents, and when they come light up to me and say it worked,
And
there's
that's
no
what we need. That's
there,
what we're missing often. One of the things I love about this community, I love this community, and y'all gonna hear me say that until the wheels fall off,
me too.
right? Sunrise has given me tremendous tools. I'm so deeply grateful. Um, I love that we don't gatekeep information here, right? It's essential, right? Not just survival, but thriving during these times, especially out in the world and even within our own homes, within ourselves, our own minds. It's community is currency. That's what I say. Community is currency, and community where you can be transparent, where you can tell the truth, where you don't have to have it all together all the time, where you can sit with your camera off and not be berated for not wanting to be seen in that moment, but just the guests, to include you, Tajala, today. I thought, and Kelly and Dr. D agreed that it was important for one of us, right? Not me, but someone else in the community to just share your journey as a parent who has been a part of the SonRise community as a testimony that this works. And it's so powerful. It's so powerful. I love you so, so much. You shared so transparently and boldly about your year of okay? Can you tell us what that is? Can you tell us share with us your year of what
Oh
that
my goodness.
was, where it came from, and what has it looked like up to this point? Because I can tell you, I just want to bear witness for you. You look totally different today than you did when we started moving toward each other in relationship a couple of years ago, right? Like I see the light, I see the lifting, I see your remembering. So can you just share with the community what that is? I love it. You're like, this is my year of What is that?
I will say it's God. It was a God sent thing to me. As a matter of fact, you don't even know this. Um, it was so we gotta get used to being a new year. So 2024 is when we had a girls day or for sunrise. And you did the bowls thing, and we had the
Yeah, the sound
mindfulness and all
bath.
the things. Yeah, sound bath. There we go. And in that moment, I shared that part with you, as it relates that my mom came to visit me for the first time in that moment since she
Mm,
had been gone.
mm,
And when I walked away from that moment, God gave me, and I learned and I took away from that visit that she was ready to be released. So that same December, I decided to release my mom's ashes.
mm,
Um, right before the new year start. I do that every year. I do have conversations with my girlfriends about, hey, this is what I have capacity for. So if you're gonna bring up the same thing next year, I can't do this. So releasing my mom's ashes after having them for 12 years, because being the only child, I just, that was the tangible thing. I didn't, although she's in a different form, I just felt like I needed her to hold on to. But
mm,
I just felt, because she always told me, she's very faith in God centered woman. She's like, she supposed to be going back the way she came. and I was being a little selfish. So I decided to release her. I released her that year of 2024. Um and after that, God say just brought reseason to me. I didn't even know what it meant. And then it came to me that he was saying, I need you to revisit some rewords that are already out there that are positive and apply them to this new journey of your life. And so that's what I did. I got a big post-it note, like huge ones, with all these words that I wanted to start with at the beginning of my journey: reset, reward, renew, reconnect, whatever it was.
Hey,
And
slow
I
down. Wait a minute. Say those again, because some people are writing down reset,
Okay,
renew.
reset, yeah, renew, reward, reconnect, just remind myself, rebuild, um, reevaluate was a big one, you know. So I did that, and even real estate was on the list. It's
I
a
love
reword,
that. Y'all
you
grab a
know.
word. That's why I told her to share her words. I want
Yeah,
her to share
and
her words. So
and
y'all have
and
one.
God would bring me a word every other day, every month, it was just, I didn't know it was that many rewords. So that's how read season came about, and it was time for me to learn that my read season, which is the most powerful word for me, was required on this journey.
Wait a
It,
minute. Wait a minute. Require. Love that. It's gonna cost you a little something, right?
yeah, oh yeah.
That's good.
And it's not necessarily mean something negative. It's gonna cost
Right.
you freedom.
Yeah.
The word we were talking about, freedom, is something that you keep always saying that you want, but you're not willing to do what's required to get it.
And require really is an exchange. When
Yes.
God calls us into requirement,
Mm-hmm.
it's really a call to an exchange.
Mm-hmm.
Give me, give me what's in your hand. Because when you release that, I am going to restore back to you something just as good or better. That's all it is. That's my
That's all.
favorite scripture in Job 22, the Amplified Version says, agree with God quickly
Mm-hmm.
so you can have peace and good will come to you. So the requirement really is a divine exchange that, like you holding on to your mom's ashes. I get that because for
Mm-hmm.
so many years you didn't have her at all. And then you got the relationship and then she passed, I'm sure what felt like to you very prematurely. So I understand. I understand you holding on until you were ready, which is your right to do that. And I honor that. And I think it's really powerful that you stood in that until you were ready. And then God says, I'm requiring this of you because I have something better for you, just as good or better. And I'm just speaking your whole life in general, not the
Yeah, no.
moment with your mom and her
Mm-hmm.
ashes. I'm requiring that you let go of that story because it brought you here. And that's
Mm-hmm.
what I want to show and share today, Tajala. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it's powerful. I'm ready to read the book. I know Dr. D is ready to read this book, this memoir. So I'm just gonna put you out on Front Street and say we're waiting for this book, your year of re. Come on, and put this book out there because it is a blueprint. Because community is currency, and we are not gatekeeping information. And everything we need to thrive is in the earth. We have it. We have access to it. It's around us. It's not 6 degrees of separation so much anymore. Sometimes it's one or two, right? It's being a
Mm-hmm.
part of this generous community, right? That, by the way, let me just insert this parenthetically. If you all would like to sow a seed into the SonRise Project, it is a nonprofit organization. We invite you to make a donation. Just go to the sonriseproject.org and make a donation. Like, we don't charge for this space. We do this work because we're passionate about it. We love it and welcome your seed. This is good ground. And I say that unapologetically. This is good ground. So please go to thesonriseproject.org and make a donation. You can make a recurring donation every month, the same way we give tithe and offering, some of us, to our churches and other organizations where we give a tenth or whatever, not telling you what, it could be $1, but just thank you in advance um, for helping us to continue this work, because we're here because we love it and we're passionate about it. And so, Tajala, can we take some questions? I know you and I can talk uh,
Yeah.
and
I just
talk
want
and
to say
talk and talk,
one
but
more
I want you
thing.
to say whatever you want to say. And then if there are
Yeah.
any questions, if you want to raise your hand or put it in the chat, please do so as we wind down these last few minutes. I see you,
Awesome.
Nikki. Hold on one moment. Go ahead, Tajala.
I just wanted to share because you say community. Community is so important, but one of my rewords that I really want to share with the community is and it reminded me that reassurance is something that you are required to know that you can do for yourself. It doesn't have to come from anybody. Because we as a community of women, most times, I know sometimes men are on here, we seek for reassurance from other people. But when you walk the shoes, the life that I walk, with no mom, no dad, no grandma, no auntie, no uncle, like the ones, those people that kind of you go for to wisdom. Now it's time for you to understand that you can reassure yourself more than anybody else, because you're the person that knows you, how you feel, how you move, what you need, what's required, all of those things. So I just want to offer you reassurance to walk with for yourself, and learn how to reassure yourself instead of always relying on other people to reassure you.
Well, this is the thing, Tajla. Each of those people you named left the best parts of themselves with you,
Yeah.
because nobody leaves the earth with their mantle. Nobody.
Mm-mm.
Nobody leaves the earth with their mantle. They leave it with someone. And so each of those loved ones that have gone on before you left the best parts of themselves with you. So now you're that lighthouse, which is their legacy, right?
Mhm.
So that's a beautiful, powerful thing. Nikki, please come off mute. Hey, sister.
Hey, everybody. Oh my God.
Bye.
Good day. Good day. Thank you so much. Ooh, I got goosebumps all over the place. Two things. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you, Dr. Vicky, for the questioning, the line, the flow. It was always like right at the moment for Tajula to share. So I want to address this part about a passing of a child. My son is physically still here. He's no longer addicted to drugs in this moment. It's coming on a year. But there is a passing of the old him, the addicted him that I am still like, oh my God, don't let today be the day. Oh, he went outside. And I need to release the ashes of the old him, because the new him really has shed it. Like, I mean, I'm seeing it in front of me, but it's been so long since I've seen him. It's almost like I'm rebirthing him, so to
Mhm.
speak. And or he's rebirthing himself really in front of me. And so
Mhm.
I am finding it challenging to be with the new him as
Mhm.
I am healing myself through all of my Al-Anon issues and, everything. And so, what would you suggest for me in my personal rebirthing as a parent who now has a child who is free of addiction in
Mhm.
this moment? And then the last thing I'll ask Dr. Vicky, I'd like to have a conversation with you, with Kelly, somebody, about how do I share my story so that I'm not gatekeeping it from the community.
Mhm.
Thank you
Oh,
for that,
wow.
Nikki. Taj, do
That's
you want
beautiful.
to
Yes, I love it. I want you to honor him in so many ways. But what I want you to do as well is know that his journey is shaking and shifting your journey. So it's time for you to do some resurrection for some things for yourself so you can see him, because the work that our kids do, just like the work that we do, they're doing it for us and only us. I hear it every day. So if he has the courage and has had the courage to shed his light and show you his light in what he is no longer, that's your seed saying and telling you what you're capable of. So now it's required of you to show up so you can truly see him, because that's why you can't, it feels unfamiliar to you, because you are unfortunately have to do the same work that he did. And maybe God used him for you to move into your reseason, to resurrect and reassure yourself that you can get to there too, get there where he is as well.
And I want to add to that, Nikki. I would like to add to that sometimes, and this is from my journey, sometimes we become stuck in a pattern of being, right? For example, when I was in my marriage, now divorced, after my divorce, peace was uncomfortable because the person I had to become or had become to survive the turmoil in my life, the turmoil was gone, but I had to shake off. I had to shake off the armor. There it is. I had to shake off the armor that I was wearing so that I could now abide in peace, which was unfamiliar to me. And what I heard, in addition to what Tajala said, Nikki, is that you were so committed to being that mom for that version of your son that now that he's a year into sobriety, you don't know who you are. And so the call for you today is to remember,
Yes.
drop your shoulders, take your tongue out of the roof of your mouth, and breathe. Breathe.
Oh
Because
my God.
as you breathe, you will start remembering. You will start
Reigniting her.
remembering and you
Like
will
you
rise
literally,
together. You'll
literally
rise
had my
together.
tongue at the top of my mouth. I had to come off mute. So, like, literally in that moment, you said drop your shoulders. I was like, I think I kind of had them, but the tongue at the roof of the
Yeah, in
mouth
the roof of your
is
mouth,
where it
because that's a
lives.
stress
Absolutely. That's a stress
response,
posture. That's right.
right? So
Absolutely.
drop your tongue and breathe. And it's not going to take a long time for you to remember. You can let go of the fear, right? The holding your breath. That's why I'm saying breathe, because you said when he walked out the door, like, is today the day? No, we have to shift the frequency of our thinking, just like you change radio stations when you don't want to hear that song or that genre anymore. You know, I know Kelly's a hip hop head. I'll get in her car and be like, let's listen to some smooth jazz. And she's like, no, let's listen to some hip hop. As quickly as we can change the frequency of the music we're listening to, you can change the frequency of your thoughts, because thoughts become things, right? And out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks.
Yeah.
So it's about, who am I today? Who do I get to be? God, show me how good it can get now that my son is no longer that child. Thank you, right? You're living in the
Mhm.
answered prayer. So, God, show me how to adjust to my answered prayer, because
Yeah.
we can get stuck in the prayer that we forget to enjoy the answer.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
We
That's
forget
so
to
good.
enjoy the answer. So, Nikki, I'm excited for you. You're going to start remembering, looking forward to your testimony, and we will connect. We will reach out so that you can share your story too, because you have a powerful one, and we are so grateful that you're here every week, every week. Um, does anybody else have any questions, anything they want to share before we ask Tajala to close out? Uh, can you share the steps used for the emotional tool with your daughter, Tajala? They're asking for an example of,
My tool.
yes, the tool that you used with the feelings, the evidence, and the action. So what does that, can you just share an example of feeling, evidence,
Okay.
action? A couple of people have asked that.
Okay. So I'll actually, if she doesn't mind, Nikki, can I use yours as an opportunity to share?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, so you said that you are afraid every time that he goes out, what if that's gonna be the next? So that's the feeling that you have and a thought that you've come up with in your mind, right? So that's the first column. We've identified the thought and the feeling. The second column is now, is there evidence or no evidence to that?
There's no
So,
evidence. Oh,
exactly. No, you're fine.
You're
I'm
right.
glad you answered.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so there's no evidence. So, what are you going to do with that? If there's no evidence, where did that come from? You just made that up in your head, right? So now you have that's the shift in the frequency, because that just told you just made something up. You just go write him out, and just because he's walking out the door, and not celebrating the fact that he's walking out the door differently, you know, and he has all the reasons to come back the same person. You see the
that's
difference in the
that's
thinking?
yeah, that's beautiful. Absolutely. And the action that you just gave me in your statement was the celebration of him coming back differently. Like, before it was like a sneak out. Now it's
Mm-hmm.
like a walkout. It's a very different strut, a different cadence, a different walk. So yeah, thank you for me
Mm,
zooming in for the thing that was so unnoticeable before, but is very
yeah.
loud now. Hmm.
Yeah,
And
and the
it's always,
knowing.
and I was gonna
Yeah.
say, and it's you. It's not him. That's you thinking
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
He's trying to move on because he's done his work. But you're trying to keep him where he was, and that's not the work that he that requires him to keep moving forward. So we as parents have to do what's required of us for them, because what I hear every day, even from my high schoolers, is you don't listen. They don't listen to me. They don't care. They don't do this. They don't trust me. Like, come on, we have to let them know that we trust the process if they've done, especially if they've done the work. But even if they haven't done the work, you have to change the movement. Like my daughter hadn't done the work because I haven't even went over there to talk to her about the work because I didn't know how to talk to her. But I had to do the work to show up differently so she can receive and see how it goes. So it works differently in everybody's household. So in your household, it was reversed. In my household, it wasn't. So these are two different dynamics that we get to share with the group here, that it moves differently and it's required of you differently to do something differently, but it both requires all of you, the child and yourself. You just can't ignore it because it's not going to fix it on its own. So what I give to you to take away from here is that you have to put some intentional time and do date nights. Just do a date night or a date day, or date, like pick a day out of the month, and that'll be the day that you guys like go deeper to try to find resolve, if there's a resolve, or just create moments and memories to hear each, to be heard and seen, and not about the things of life, just the moments in life.
Go ahead, preacher Tajala. And we're at 10 o'clock.
I'm sorry.
Nikki, I have one more thing just to share. At the end of the day, our children belong to God. And I want to close with this because we're at 10 o'clock. Our children belong to God. And so our assignment is to steward them the best we can. We parent and steward them, and they teach us and help us grow, right? And then at the end of the day, we can add ashe. So it is. We give them to God. They belong to God. They're on loan to us, and we trust God. That's an action. I am going to trust you, God, because my child belongs to you. So thank you, Nikki, for sharing. Thank you, Tajala, for being
Thank you.
here. This was as powerful as I anticipated in my heart. I pray that it has been a blessing to the community today. And God, we thank you for the SonRise Project. We thank you for Kelli. Thank you for Dr. D. Thank you for Tajala and her testimony that has inspired our community today to take a look within, to examine our feelings, our emotions, the evidence, and then to take the appropriate action so that we can be fruitful, more fruitful in our relationships with our children. Thank you that this is our season 2, that each of us will walk away with a word that we will add to our tool chest. We're so grateful for another call, another deposit of wisdom, and bring us back together again on next Sunday as we continue to grow here at the SonRise Project. We give you glory in all of these things. Amen. Thank you, everyone. God bless you. Have a powerful day. Thank you again, Tajala. I love
Thank
you,
you.
sister.
Love you
Oh,
more.
this is
Take
so
care,
awesome.
everybody.
Thank you. Thank you. See you next Sunday, everyone.